Some echoes are not of sound, but of sorrow. They linger in the air not as waves, but as a weight. A chilling presence that speaks of a loss so profound, it has torn a hole in the fabric of reality itself. In the archives of Southeast Asia, this phenomenon has a name: Kuntilanak. But to classify it as a mere ghost is a dangerous oversimplification. It is not a singular entity to be hunted. It is a recurring spectral anomaly, an auditory and olfactory weapon that bypasses the eyes and attacks the mind directly. Its terror is not in what it does to the body, but what its presence represents: the absolute, unending finality of tragedy. Archival data points to a consistent archetype for the anomaly's origin. The stories are numerous, but the core components remain identical. It begins with a woman, often at the peak of her life, who suffers a catastrophic loss during childbirth. A death so violent and so filled with despair that her emotional agony becomes an imprint, a spectral signature of suffering left behind on the world. This is not a soul-seeking vengeance. It is an echo trapped in a loop of its most agonizing moment, an eternal phantom pain. A mother, forever searching for the child she never had the chance to hold. To understand the anomaly, we must first dissect its patterns. The phenomenon adheres to a strict, observable sequence of events, rules that make it both predictable and infinitely more terrifying. First, the olfactory anomaly, the precursor, a faint, sweet fragrance. The signature is not random. It is tied to rites of passage: jasmine for its sacred purity, and frangipani for its unshakable connection to graveyards. It is a scent that signifies the blurring of the line between the living and the dead. Second, the audio anomaly, the marker, the sound of a crying infant, distant and sorrowful. This is the primary signature of the phenomenon, the auditory echo of its foundational trauma. And third, the most insidious rule of all, the spatial anomaly, or what investigators call the rule of spatial inversion. This is the anomaly's primary psychological weapon. The rule is simple, and it breaks every survival instinct hardwired into the human brain. If the crying sounds far away, the anomaly is terrifyingly close. If the crying sounds deafeningly near, it is at a safe distance. It is a perfect engine of paranoia, turning relief into terror and a false sense of security into a fatal miscalculation. Case file number 007, Witness Report 11 Tubai. Subject: a lone night watchman stationed at an old Dutch colonial-era bridge. Log entry 01:15 a.m. Subject reports a sudden, strong smell of jasmine flowers near his guard post at the bridge's midpoint. He attributes it to the nearby flora and continues his patrol. Log entry 2:40 a.m. Subject logs hearing the faint sound of a baby crying. He assumes it is coming from the village across the river and expresses concern, but remains at his post as per protocol. Log entry 3:10 a.m. Subject makes another entry. Reports the crying is much louder now, as if it's right at the entrance to the bridge. He notes a sense of relief, logging, "Good. It means the poor thing is moving away from my position." Log entry 03:25 a.m. A final panicked entry. The handwriting is nearly illegible. It reads,
"The crying. It's gone quiet. I can't hear it at all."
The subject was found at dawn, deceased. Cause of death was listed as heart failure. The greatest error in Kuntilanak research is classifying it as a hostile entity. All available data suggests this is incorrect. The anomaly does not hunt. It searches. The sweet fragrance is not a lure. but the memory of funeral rites. The crying is not a trap, but an expression of unending grief. It is the sound of a mother eternally wandering, looking for her lost child. The true horror of the Kuntilanak Anomaly is not the fear of being attacked by a monster. It is the chilling realization that in the darkness, this grieving, powerful entity has mistaken you for the child it can never find. And it is finally coming to take you home. The case remains open.